someday when I get to be a real pro like Ken and Ben and everything, maybe I can just wing it. But wasn't Diane who sang our national anthem, wasn't that beautiful? Fantastic. And thank God for you guys. You know what you guys are? You are the wealth of America. You really are, and I'll explain more about that in a minute. But I want to tell you something. I had an extraordinary honor and privilege to get to sing the national anthem in Washington, D.C. on 9/12. I was standing, 6 feet away from the lady MC on the makeshift portable, movable sound stage. I wasn't one of the big shots. I was just standing there in the crowd, and the lady said, "Hey," well, let me tell you why. That crowd was so big, so fast, that it overwhelmed the Washington, D.C. police. They made the march start 2 hours earlier than scheduled. Did you know that?
But there was only 2,000 people there.
Yeah, and they were all news people, right? That march started 2 hours early because the crowd was so much bigger than expected. So, a little change in plans. So the lady MC said, "Hey, we need somebody to sing the national anthem. Can anybody here sing the national anthem?" I raised my hand. I said, "I can." And she said, "You can?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Are you any good?" I said, "Well, I'm pretty good." She said, "Well, come on up. Hey, everybody, this guy's a doctor from Tennessee, and he's going to sing the national anthem." And so I did. And what an honor. What a thrill. It went over great. One of the guys in the crowd said, "Jerry, you were on pitch. It was great, man." Another friend said, "That must have been the real high point of the trip for you." And I said, "Not to diminish that honor at all, not one bit. But the real high point of that trip was to look out in front of me and behind me and to my left and to my right. And as far as I could see, people like me and you. People who paid their own way to be there, who took off from their jobs, who devoted their time, expense to be there. That was the real honor. And man, who could go wrong in front of a crowd like that? It was fantastic. This subject is a little bit philosophical. I've only got about 3 or 4 minutes worth of notes here, so I'll get to it and make it fast. But this is kind of important, and this kind of harkens back to what Glenn Beck is talking about recently. But anybody here angry?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, the socialist Marxist propaganda machine that used to be known as the American news media would have you believe that you're old and stupid and you have no right to be angry. Well, after the lies and betrayal to which you have been subjected, you have every right to be angry. Even Jesus Christ our Lord got angry when it was appropriate, when that anger was righteous, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
But you know, too much anger is bad for the human body. It's not good for us to be in a perpetual state of anger. It causes a lot of bad things. So what do we do about it? Well,
To the game.
we redirect the anger. We recycle it, yeah. We change it. We use the energy that anger creates to actually get some of the things done, like a big change that's going to happen in November in Washington.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep.
One of the right things to do is to change that leadership. But first and foremost, the healthiest thing to do is to follow the example of that modern day Benjamin Franklin, a guy named Glenn Beck. You know? Recycle that anger, folks, into faith, charity, love, and other virtues such as forgiveness. Now, I don't mean forgiveness in quite the way that some people might. Forgiveness doesn't mean not holding the abuser accountable. We're going to hold him accountable. Forgiveness does not mean that we invite further abuse. Forgiveness means that we're going to redirect our energy to getting the objectives that we want done. Let them go on and fight whatever, you know. We're going to move on. And when the time is right, we're going to fight with the force of heaven behind us. Thank you. Now, we can forgive some on the socialist left just because they don't understand. We're going to help them understand. The people who consider us their adversaries really just haven't gotten it yet. Because you know what? We may be the best friend that they've got. Have you ever thought about this really? Conservatism deals in the real, not pie-in-the-sky dreams. America's been promised a lot of pie-in-the-sky stuff of late from the President of the United States. We're going to give them a lesson in reality. Now, folks, Congress, our political leaders, seriously, have gotten so far out of touch with reality. I really believe they think they could pass a law against gravity and everything would float. Seriously.
Another term for reality.
They don't. So, conservatism is at its heart compassionate. Why? Because it does deal with the real. And here's one of these real things to understand. The big pie lie, that there's a piece of pie out there, it's just so much pie and you got to get your portion of it and that sort of thing, or get somebody in office to redistribute it to you. It doesn't work that way, folks. The American pie, American prosperity is based on people like you and me getting up and going to work every day. That's where the wealth of America really comes from. Yeah, that's reality. The people need to know this. Otherwise, they're getting tired of eating golden eggs and they're going to kill the golden goose. They don't understand.
The goose is dead.
Well, if they have anything to say about it, our goose is cooked. But I'll tell you, what they must understand, and this is one of the objectives that I say we should really take to heart and do in as best we can, every way we can. And it's to help people understand. We're trying to save the economy. We're trying to save our country. They live here with us. We're in it together, folks. We're trying to save the economy and our country for their sake as well as ours. We're not their adversary. If we can get this lesson across to them, when the producers finally see no more point in producing, when they're finally so discouraged that they quit, that's when the prosperity ends. That's when instant poverty begins. And it doesn't make any difference if you're getting a government check, whether it's a salary check, a retirement check, Social Security, a welfare check, or whatever. When the engines that drive our economy, capitalism, the free market system, when it's gone, game over. End of story. So this is really and truly, is this not a message of compassion to help these people understand this?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
No, they just don't have no ears to hear.
This is the thing. We got to get people to listen. One of the things we got to do is educate some young people too.
That's right.
Jerry Williams, who was here a minute ago, left. His grandson said, "Well, Granddad, I don't understand what socialism is." And Jerry said, "I didn't know what to tell him exactly." And I said, "Well, look, tell him that it's like being told what to do by his parents his entire life. You know? Hey, give me your iPod. Give me your cell phone. Give me your gas money. I'm going to redistribute that to Johnny and Susie because they deserve it more than you do, even though they didn't work for it." That's socialism. Telling you where you're going to work, what you're going to get paid, if you're going to get paid. Folks, the great late hero Paul Harvey, this is 20 years ago, thinking back 20 years, he said if you take everybody, every millionaire's wealth in America, and you redistribute every penny of it, not a portion of it, but all of it, every man, woman, and child in America would get about $100.
That's right.
And that's it. These are lessons that our adversaries, or the people who think they're our adversaries, don't understand yet. We got to get this across to them. This is one of the things that I would put to you. We're not angry. We've just got a great resolve to make things happen in a new direction, the direction that it needs to go. Far from being racist, we're the friend of these folks that would put us down in that way. They say it because they don't have anything else to say. They don't have any other tools to fight us with.
Well, we forgive them of their low IQ.
He says we got to forgive them for their low IQ as well. Well, even the great I'll tell you, when I tell you this guy, and I'm going to close with this. This guy talked about being black and going to a school to become a priest. And then he later went to Holy Cross University and decided that he was going to become a lawyer. And he had totally bought into the Marxist philosophy. He had totally bought into it. It was hate the man. You know, in other words, the white people had done all the wrong stuff, had done all the bad stuff. It was all their fault and everything. But the guy's upbringing didn't square with that. And so the words of his grandfather, the guy who he looked up to as his dad, his words kept coming back to this guy. And that's what led him away from the Marxist conclusions, misconclusions, misunderstanding. That guy was Clarence Thomas. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. So, folks, I know it's a tough battle, but this is where a little bit of Christian forgiveness does come in handy. If we can forgive them and try to communicate with them and make them understand, surely in that crowd of people, there's some who will be like Clarence Thomas that will understand that we're trying to save the economy and save our country for them as well as ourselves. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me on this. God bless you and God bless America.